the story has a lot of layers in it. One is about child labor, the fact that kids are allowed to work at 12 in American agriculture, and that law allows underage kids under 12, to slip in through the cracks and pitch in and help put food in the family's table. And then there's another layer of education for these migrants. A lot of these kids leave school early in the spring and return late in the fall. So they miss weeks of school every year, and that's detrimental to their education. Migrant kids drop out of high school 4 times the rate than the national average. Another layer of this story is about the migrants' struggle and with technology. As technology gets better, migrants are getting edged out of work. We saw that in the Cruz family, whose work has been overtaken by genetically modified sugar beets that are weed resistant, so the Cruz family don't have any work weeding anymore in Minnesota. So there are many layers to the story, and also there's the layer of piece rate. Is piece rate still a viable way of paying farm workers? You know, payment by the pound, paying families 50 cents for a pound of blueberries. Is that, will families make a living wage from piece rate?
I think a lot of Americans think about child labor as something that happens in India or Bangladesh or Latin America, and they're really not aware that it's a really very live issue here in the United States in the area of agriculture, and that there are children who are out in the fields, hundreds of thousands of children, who are allowed to do work at far younger ages, for far longer hours, and under more hazardous conditions than kids in any other industry. It's really a scandal that this kind of child labor is tolerated in this country, not only under practice, but also under the law. Family poverty among farm workers is one of the driving forces that brings a lot of children into the fields with their parents. And that points to another problem, which is that a lot of these adult workers are not making the wages that they're entitled to. Everyone in the United States should be making a minimum wage. And when growers pay adults less and force their children to make up the difference, that's an injustice to both the children and their parents. So we need better enforcement of the minimum wage laws in this country, and we need better enforcement of child labor laws.
What this documentary really highlights is over the past 40 plus years, things have not changed, that we have made an effort to change improve living conditions and wages for farm workers and their children, and yet we've pretty much reached a standstill where nothing has improved. And I think within my program, it made me think about the work that we're doing and that we're bringing together farm worker groups from across the country to address this problem, and then also create alliances with other organizations, environmental and food safety and consumer, and how do we have greater impact and power to change what has pretty much been a systemic issue and a major tragedy for farm workers over the past 50 years, and thinking about Harvest of Shame and the 50th anniversary of that, and then also seeing this film. I mean, it feels like we are not moving forward, that we are constantly moving back, and I'm so glad to see people here, taking up passion and commitment to bring about change. And it's I think that we have a lot of power in this room and a lot of power across the country to bring about the change that's necessary.